We are rapidly approaching the end of the year. And that means we have less than 340 days to our next election. And a lot of stuff has to happen. We're dealing with a split right now, from everything I've seen, in the Democratic Party. And the youth of our party is not happy right now with President Biden and what's going on in Palestine. And there is a cry for many in this group to see an alternative to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Historically speaking, this was not generally done. Ever. The party that was the president, or had the president, didn't generally run someone against him because of what winds up occurring, like in 1992 with H. Ross Perot, where a third party drained votes from one candidate and the other one won. There's a myriad of problems going on in our society. There is the looming aspect of Project 2025. There is Dean Phillips, who's sitting out there and is not getting any play for president. Now, many of the people in my age bracket are going to say it's entirely too late. With 340 days to have Dean make a presidential run. And ordinarily, I would not disagree with you. We've never had a sitting president that was 80. I think Ronald Reagan was close to that. In his last couple of years, there was not much there. I am not making that point about Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden is doing as well as he possibly can, given his age. I think he's doing much better than Donald Trump would do as far as cognitive decline. Yes, they mix up their words, both of them do. I do too, and I'm 53. The issue really is, as a society, we have one group of people on the right that seem to be trying to destroy our society. We have one group of people on the left that seems to be trying to hold the tide they have against the insanity. And we have a bunch of independent people who are actually going to make the decision. Because despite the fact that Donald Trump might get knocked off of despite the fact that Donald Trump might be barred from running, it doesn't mean that Nikki Haley or, Vivek Ramaswamy are any better choices than Donald Trump. They're not. The problem is that there are so many of us who have watched the rights be eroded rather quickly in the last decade. Well, rather quickly in the last 2 decades, if you want to go back to the Patriot Act and the beginning of massive, massive overreach. And we are scared, and I think justifiably so, if we play around with the Democratic Party and play around with Joe Biden, that we could lose. And that could lead to the end of voting as we know it. I think the Democratic Party should give Dean Phillips a voice. Let him talk. Bring new ideas up. Let's move the party further to the left. It's what needs to be done. Medicare for all, enshrining abortion as a right, fully funding education. These are all things that are required, that are being removed systematically. The tax on Medicare, tax on Medicaid. This is all being done by the GOP, and it's hurting the people most in need. We have a complicated year coming up. I think we should listen to voices, even ones we don't want to listen to hear what they have to say, so we can unify together and vote for democracy. I don't want to live in a Christian nationalist state, but I don't want to maintain the status quo either. It's a quandary for most of us. So, in this time period between Christmas and New Year's, when everything is weird, give a second to think about it. Think about who the Democrats are running. think about who the Republicans are running and ask yourself if the Democratic Party could use a little further movement to the left to help us out to ensure that we don't live under the dictatorship of Donald Trump or Project 2025. Vote true and vote blue.